Little bit of our wedding. That's all we got. Some neighbor brought his camera over and took these few pictures, and they were pretty bad. But you will see a lot of flowers. There's Grant. Anyway, that's all there is. That's all I got right there. That ain't much. Okay, there we're talking to Colleen and Mike, doing a little dance in their new pajamas that I just made them. Poor little Mike with his horrible, horrible scabs on his head from his eczema. You can see the scabs across his brow. Poor little guy. He had a hard time smiling. He didn't have much to smile about. He was so miserable. Colleen's talking to her grandma. And there, Dad is leading Mike and Colleen on Joker. Over in the back you'll see Cindy playing. And Mike was allergic to horses, and we didn't know that at that time, so he's getting his dose of allergies there. Colleen was able to ride Joker here by herself, but in this picture, of course, she's just being led around. I'm going to record these, transfer these all to DVD when I get them all labeled. There's Cindy. And there's Chrissy, Colleen, and Mike. And there's Mike rocking on the horse. And of course I didn't have her camera. That horse Grandma and Grandpa bought for Colleen. And she played with it by the hour from the time she was 8 months old. But Mike didn't get that much interest out of it. He'd do it when we asked him to, but it wasn't his big thing. As you can see, Colleen's outgrown it, but now can't remember whether that, well, I can't remember that tricycle for sure. That's Colleen's tricycle, and she's just learning to ride it there, as you can see. Mike getting his first haircut from his dad. Well, the first of many. Jim was a pretty good barber in those days, but he gave it over to me, as he did a lot of things after I came on scene. There's Colleen riding Joker by herself. She was 3 years old and he was 3 years old, her dad likes to say. We had just got the house kind of done, and my lawn isn't in yet, you can tell. But we were living in the back room of the house. She's not a very good rider yet. She still has to kind of coax old Joker. But she can do it for only being 3 years old. In that picture, I think Blanche is riding with her. Here we got some new baby chicks. Mike and Colleen. In a minute you're going to see Mike grab one of them chicks and chuck it into that box. In the background is our AM, or our stereo record player TV. The first good, there goes Mike. That was the first good TV we had. We went down to Chrysophiles and bought it. Colleen is combing and fixing Grandma's hair. That was something she did a lot. In the back there is my old sewing machine stand that Dad bought from a salesman at a bar in Ritchie one night for way more money than I thought we could afford, but I did get a lot of good out of it. Now Colleen is pulling Mike on Joker. She always called that pulling him, with her red boots that I have. I have one of them here in the office. I lost one of them, but I think there's one of them left in there. And she's pulling Tony. And Tony, he was a good old gentle horse for kids. There's Cindy. Well, hurry up, Colleen. We've seen about enough of that. Now we want to see something else. There's my good-looking kids posing by my flower bed. I went over to Jordan, over to the homestead. Look at the diamond-shaped stepping stone blocks. I went over to Jordan and picked up that lava rock out of the old homestead where my grandparents homesteaded over there, and then I poured the cement myself and made those flagstones. We went out to Idaho here. I can't remember what the occasion was. It looks like about Colleen was 3 or 4 years. Oh, it was in '61. We went. It was so dry at home we didn't have to do any summer problem. I think it was so dry. So we loaded up an old pickup and put an old camper in the back of it, a new pickup and an old camper. There's Tim is setting Colleen on the back of his milk cow, Tim Cary. And we went on this trip. We went all the way out to Medford, Oregon, where Jim's brother George was working. Visited Cary's and Vests and family all the way. There's Jim Cary, little Jim, Richard's son Jim, and his 4-H steer. Colleen don't really trust him too far. There's the old pickup, new pickup with the old camper on it. Mike got so sick here that you can't believe it. They had cats in the house, and we couldn't. There, Colleen's caught a fish. Sunfish, I think. We couldn't figure out why he was sick, but he spent the whole time out in the camper because he just simply couldn't breathe. Here we are in Seattle. Yeah, that must have been a Cary kid from Idaho, because from there we went out to Seattle, and there's Teeny, Mom's oldest sister. We had a family get-together. There is Alger, Mom's brother. And Alger's wife, Doris. Thelma, little skinny Thelma. We had a Din, and Din's daughter Helen over behind there. Din was from Montana, of course, but she went out there for the occasion. And there's Dot, and one of her kids. I'm not sure which one. Cindy, I think. I think that's Cindy. She's the same age as Mike. And there they are, all gathering together. This is one of Dale's kids in front here. Or Bobby, one or the other, I forget. This has been a long time ago. I have to tax my memory and figure these out. But over someplace now you're going to see Dale. Yeah, bald-headed Dale over there behind Cindy. That's Teeny's oldest son. There, he's leaning down with that little girl. I hope when I put these on CDs now, or DVDs, I'm going to be able to mark them so that we can go directly to these various scenes when we want to. There's Mike and Cindy on the ground, and then Colleen and I can't remember who that kid is. Bobby? No, it's not old enough for Bobby. Can't remember who that boy is. Now we're down in Medford, Oregon, where George and Karen live, and these babies here are Brian, and you can see that right hand, he doesn't have any thumb on it. They had to operate on him and turn his pointer finger around so it would make a thumb for him. And that's Brian and Cindy in the middle, and then Colleen and Mike on the ends. But you can plainly see that he does not have a thumb on his right hand. And there's Jim and George washing dishes for the camera. Otherwise, I don't think that, well, I shouldn't say that. Dad washed dishes quite a bit when we had company.